or anyone rightfully calling to end the state of Israel and force them to exist as a single state through occupation, re-education, or just education here. I mean, one thing that like pisses me off again, and I know like the crimes and the failings of US media when it comes to talking about Israel are infinite, but like one of the big ones is we cannot talk. We are not allowed to talk about how bad Israelis are. Like when it comes to Russia, Russia is an oligarchy. They have an authoritarian leader. It is widely discussed that Putin is relatively popular in Russia for a variety of reasons. But what people don't discuss, I think because of the implications, right, is that Israelis are, to a very large extent, openly genocidal. They are open. It's not just about Netanyahu. It's not just about like, oh, well, they support a bad leader, but they could be wooed elsewise. A significant number of Israelis are motivated by racial animus and want this like glorious war of conquest and territorial expansion. They are on that Lebensraum shit, you know? And in an environment like that, we cannot simply wait for Netanyahu to leave office or whatever, and then just assume everything will be fine. You know, it's really, really, really bad. Americans aren't? No. Oh my God, no. I don't even want to get into it, but the difference in the psyche between the average American and the average Israeli is enormous. The average American is just a fucking griller, okay? They may be callously cruel or indifferent, but by and large, most Americans are just interested in living their life. Even the Republicans, they want to grill. Everyone wants to grill. In Israel, a significant, I mean, majority want an actual, like, World War II style Nazi expansion and cleanse of the neighboring country, like that, like whether that be Greater Israel or the extermination of the Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza. Like they are actively, morally, normatively engaged with what they're describing here, you know, with how bad this could be. Netanyahu has spoken to the defense of the Greater Israel Project. You know, it's not just people like Ben Gvir. Like, it's a mainstream idea there. It is really, really, really bad. And we are funding them. We are funding them. Yeah. Like, as bad as America is, in America, it is not a majority sentiment that we should conquer Canada and Mexico through military force and then exterminate non-ethnically white people there. Whereas in Israel, that would be the common sentiment, or at least like 50-50 ballparking it, you know, different versions of that. But yeah, that would be like the relative, that'd be the comparison you would make. Yeah. Even Republicans get tummy aches seeing ICE detain people in person. Yeah. Like we are a lot more allergically, I guess, we're more allergic to the bad optics of some of the stuff that we do, even the Republican things. I don't know. It's still important to note that there are Israelis who are not like that. Yes, but right now things are trending negative. Younger Israelis are more likely to be Hitlerite. It's really bad over there. They're subsumed in an environment where, like, for one, their government and their media 100% Hitler. And they have the narrative that it's them against the entire world because the whole world does hate them because they're fucking awful, right? And the only country that provides them support is the most powerful country on earth that gives them infinite money and power and political deference for nothing in exchange. It's like, to analogize it to raising a child, we are maximizing the likelihood of raising a spoiled brat. Does that make sense? It's you versus the world. Believe in every bad thing a human can believe in, but also the biggest boy on earth, America, is protecting you. You're guaranteeing bad outcomes here, and it's only getting worse. There's no other narrative. Rampant conquest and ethno-nationalism are the only things Israel sees in its future, and maybe they're right. Okay, literally, what are you guys arguing about? The superficial docileness of the burger stems from the crimes being the past, no one standing on Bulgarian soil. The crimes are maximally externalized and abstracted. The burger grilling is predicated on Gaza children being murdered in the... What are we talking about? The American griller sentiment is just the result of being unassailable by the rest of the world, plus enormous surpluses from the position, plus hegemonic exploitation. There's nothing special about burger. Sorry to burst the exceptionist bubble. Did you think that I was being an American exceptionalist when I said that Americans are grillers? Was that the impression? That saying that Americans are disinterestedly cruel and callous, that to you was like listen, it's not that Americans are special. It's that Israel is. Israel is especially bad. not just in its country, but the disposition of its people. I think that most people in most countries are pretty disconnected from the events of the world at large. You know, it varies obviously place to place, but by and large people just want to live their lives. I think that people have, at least in the West, you know, a shared sentiment where they, you know, kind of passively absorb and reinforce liberal values, freedom, autonomy, you know, that kind of stuff. They might not like consistently advocate for those things, but I think that it's the white noise that we speak in. It's the default. It's the norm. And I think that in Israel, that they're an exception. You know, I think that Israel is, you know, just judging from the polling of its population, uniquely bad. They are just a very, very bloodthirsty people. And that's a like created situation. You know, we like it was constructed through an environment both domestically and internationally. It's not innate or anything. But it is very, very, very bad. It's very, very bad. Everyone is, yeah, but there's a reason why it's a trope that Americans can't even find basic shit on a map. Well, look, you're not going to get me to defend against the idea that Americans are fucking stupid, because they are. However, I do think sometimes this is overstated. You know, there's a lot of Americans dumb or Americans racist discourse that, in my opinion, is just playing cover for Europeans. Europeans, on average, are more racist than Americans are in a variety of ways, depending on the like exact polling language. Consistently, when it comes to race or ethnicity, they have more issues with living next to people of different races, ethnicities, languages, religions, whatever. Americans do still have that like melting pot. There's an element to it, right? It's an influence. And while Americans are definitely way stupider when it comes to basic international affairs than the average European, I don't know. It's sometimes it's like with Canadians, right? Canadians will, you know, talk shit on Americans, and I'm not saying it's unwarranted. It's just that Canada's got a lot of the same issues. I think the only ethnic group that is behind on support for Palestinians are Jews. It's rare to find an open anti-Zionist Jew in person. Well, it's difficult because of the language involved. So for one, there are lots of anti-Zionist Jews for sure, like Jewish Voice for Peace, for example, a lot of very like protesters, open voices. The problem is, so for one, Jews tend to live in like relatively family-oriented, tight-knit communities. A lot of Jewish people, especially younger Jewish people, might find it difficult to express anti-Zionist positions because it could lead to them being ostracized from their, you know, immediate community. That varies though. In addition, I think a big issue is the definition of Zionism to a lot of American Jews. For decades and decades, Zionism has basically just meant, for a lot of Jewish Americans, the abstract belief that Jews should have a homeland, you know? Which, of course, the vast majority of Jews have supported. But recently, largely since like the Intifada, right? But I like especially since October 7th, the meaning of the term Zionist has shifted in public culture, in public discourse, to go from just like generally believing in the idea of a Jewish homeland into this like, you now militantly support Israel in their war efforts and in their extermination of the other races and so on and so forth. And I think that a lot of older Jewish people have had difficulty with that linguistic shift, where like a decade ago they could say, yeah, I'm a Zionist, and it was no big deal. But now they say they're a Zionist and everyone gets mad at them and they don't really understand why. Like they follow the news, but their positions haven't shifted that much, or at least they don't think they have. I'm not saying there aren't like racist anti-Arab Jews. Of course there are. Just that I acknowledge that there are some semantic difficulties. Now, obviously, those semantic difficulties go out the window as a potential excuse if you're any kind of public figure. If you're a journalist or a politician, then you should know what the fuck you mean when you say you're a Zionist, right? Like I'm not affording you that that defense. It's your job to know.